Labour telling their own Prime Minister that he needs to get his act together or he might risk losing the actual election. I mean, this is pretty unprecedented stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. And and also I think the fact that it's happening so early in the election cycle, just about a year or so since the last election. And you can just feel it when I speak to Labour MPs, Labour ministers. They are very, very jittery. Immigration.
Everything he has said this afternoon is total nonsense. Obfuscation, avoiding the question. He doesn't have any answers. It's disgraceful. I asked him, Mr. Speaker, about the two...
Westminster has erupted into chaos. For the first time in decades, the Labour leader finds himself at the centre of a full-blown revolt. Starmer, once seen as Labour's best hope, is now cornered by his own MPs as a no-confidence vote barrels forward. What began as quiet murmurs of discontent has exploded into a storm, threatening not just his leadership, but the future direction of Britain itself. This is no longer a simple party squabble. It's a battle over Brexit's legacy, the country's sovereignty, and the trust between politicians and the people. Tonight, tension in Parliament has reached a breaking point, and the outcome could reshape history.
The sort of big three subjects, we compare it to the cost of living crisis and the NHS, but it just seems to be ratcheting up even higher. And we've had backbenchers, Joe White, Graham Stringer, Jonathan Brash, all talking about how there will be an electoral reckoning if Sir Keir Starmer doesn't actually get to grips with this. Now,
for months, frustration simmered beneath the surface. Whispers spreading through Labour corridors about strategy, secrecy, and leadership failures. But now the dam has burst. Furious MPs from Leave voting constituencies have taken the fight directly to Starmer, their patience exhausted. The spark was a leak his inner circle thought they could bury, a secret deal with Brussels, packed with concessions that even Starmer's closest allies hadn't been fully briefed on. Its contents were explosive: regulatory powers, trade standards, and fisheries quietly handed back to the EU. Buried deep in the appendices was the revival of European Court of Justice oversight, something many Brexit voters had sworn they would never accept again. Accusations in Parliament have been savage: betrayal, secrecy, and a slow-motion reversal of Brexit through backroom deals. MPs who once stood by him are now denouncing him. Shadow cabinet members admit they only learned the full scope of the deal through the press, not their leader. A sense of manipulation has left even loyal Labour voices seething. Starmer's historic Brussels deal, once hailed as his greatest triumph, has exploded into disaster. Voters are furious. Councillors are quitting, and Labour's traditional base, fishermen, farmers and factory workers, call it outright betrayal. What was meant to secure Labour's future is now fueling open revolt. Disillusioned MPs have joined forces with Conservatives and Reform UK to push a no-confidence motion. Hours after Starmer boasted of a breakthrough, leaked papers revealed not victory, but Britain's independence quietly surrendered.
Nothing seems to be happening. Nothing seems to be changing. The numbers still seem to be very, very high. And you contrast that with the small sort of measures that the government are coming up with. You compare that with this sort of big bang attitude and policies of Nigel Farage today, who says we're going to leave the European Convention of Human Rights. People are going to be deported. They're going to be held within a month in detention centres or migration centres and then sent back to the country where they came from. It's like chalk and cheese.
The Conservatives wasted no time branding the deal a constitutional disgrace. Reform UK, driven relentlessly by Nigel Farage, moved with surgical precision. Farage appeared across national television, hammering home a devastating message. Starmer had delivered the greatest betrayal of Brexit since the referendum. His words resonated with millions already feeling ignored by the political class. Overnight, Reform UK surged, membership spiked, online rallies drew thousands, and social media feeds filled with clips of Farage rallying packed halls as polls shifted in real time. What was once a fringe protest movement suddenly became a serious threat to Labour's future. The scale of revolt is staggering. In less than a day, Starmer went from steady strategist to to a rattled leader clinging desperately to authority. Once calm in front of cameras, he now lashes out at journalists, fumbles answers, and retreats from the spotlight. The mask of competence has slipped, replaced by desperation. For MPs who once defended him, the sight is sobering. Many are openly asking if their leader has already crossed the point of no return. Beyond Parliament, voters who once trusted him now speak his name with fury. And this is just the surface. The leaked deal, officially titled the Framework for EU Convergence, is more than a controversial trade arrangement. It is a blueprint many describe as a quiet roadmap back into Europe. Stitched together without debate, buried in appendices, and hidden from Parliament, it covers more than 24 sectors: environmental rules, industrial subsidies, digital markets, financial regulation, not outright rejoining, but a creeping step-by-step alignment with Brussels without a single public vote.
Heard Sir Keir Starmer. He's been talking to Italy's Giorgia Meloni. He's been to Albania. He's been talking about these offshoring centres, trying to come up with this kind of Rwanda-style deterrent. He really needs to spend the next few months coming up with something, coming up with a policy that is akin to that, just to send this message to people at migrants who want to make that crossing. Because I think
the backlash inside Labour has been volcanic. MPs from Leave voting constituencies were stunned, some speechless, realising they had learned the details not from their leader, but from newspaper headlines. One senior figure called it the most brazen act of deception they had seen in decades. When Appendix C revealed European Court of Justice oversight on trade disputes, corporate law, and even immigration policy, fury became uncontainable. Legal experts are calling it a constitutional bombshell, with former judges warning it ties the hands of future parliaments. Opposition parties seized the moment. Conservatives demanded an emergency debate, while Reform UK branded it proof that Starmer is dragging Britain back into Brussels' orbit by stealth. But the scandal goes beyond the deal itself. Intelligence leaks suggest Starmer's advisors have maintained undeclared contact with European officials for over a year. Private meetings in Brussels, Berlin and Paris. None recorded, none declared. Draft frameworks exchanged, talking points developed, a shadow diplomacy carried out behind closed doors. A classified MI5 assessment reportedly flagged one of Starmer's senior communications advisors for direct ties with a former EU Commission legal officer. The officer in question was linked to the very Brexit unit Britain once clashed with during negotiations. The assessment suggests the discussions went beyond casual contacts, raising concerns over breaches of the ministerial code, or worse, national security. MPs are stunned. What began as a revolt over a trade deal is now morphing into a potential scandal of collusion, secrecy, and manipulation at the highest levels. For Labour, it is no longer just a leadership crisis, it is existential. Investigative journalists have uncovered suspicious financial flows pointing directly to European lobbying interests. Two Labour-aligned think tanks, one in London and another in Brussels, received hundreds of thousands of pounds from organisations tied to EU policy groups. Freedom of information requests revealed a single payment worth over £750,000, funnelled through a policy advisory fund chaired by a former Vice President of the European Parliament. On paper, it was marked as support for strategic communications research. In reality, critics argue it looks like an attempt to reshape British opinion, softening the public for a slow re-entry into the single market. Reform UK has weaponised these findings. Richard Tye called the payments the most blatant act of subversion since the Iraq dossier scandal, accusing Labour of outsourcing British policy to Brussels. The optics are explosive. Secret payments, undisclosed meetings, MPs rubbing shoulders with EU commissioners in luxury London townhouses and French shadows. One source described a gathering in Geneva where attendees left their phones outside to avoid surveillance. No minutes were recorded, no documents released. Yet insiders say the topic was singular: how to guide Britain back into alignment with Europe without triggering an electoral revolt. The secrecy has alarmed even centrist Labour MPs, some now calling for a full parliamentary inquiry. What was once dismissed as conspiracy chatter is hardening into a full-blown scandal, backed by documents, money trails, and intelligence briefings. For Starmer, the crisis is no longer just political. It is veering into legal territory. If these revelations prove true, the fallout could be catastrophic. The scandal has now spilled beyond Parliament. Across Britain, protests are multiplying, uncontrollable by Labour HQ. Constituency offices in Leave voting areas have become flashpoints, draped in U flags, splashed with red paint spelling betrayal. In Cornwall, fishermen are organising flotillas to block U vessels, while factory workers in the Midlands demand Starmer's resignation. Anger is spreading fast. Leeds protesters burn Labour membership cards. Sunderland crowds plaster walls calling Starmer a traitor. From London to Birmingham, the message is clear. Stop the betrayal. Social media fuels the fury. #Brexit betrayal trends, videos of angry supporters go viral, and Nigel Farage rallies dominate timelines. Even Labour-friendly spaces call for resignation. The media amplifies it. Tabloids scream betrayal, broadsheets dissect leaked clauses, and broadcasters air furious voters. MPs see revolt nationwide, local branches demand emergency meetings, unions shift support, senior Labour figures retreat. The rebellion has grown from defections into a full-scale mutiny, and the countdown to the no-confidence vote has begun. Constituency groups in Labour's Red Wall battlegrounds are demanding Starmer's resignation, warning of electoral wipeouts if he remains in charge. Local branches call emergency meetings, some passing motions of censure. For many MPs, the question is no longer if he should go, but how quickly, behind closed doors, senior figures circle. Angela Rayner tests union support for a leadership challenge. Wes Streeting crafts public statements on trust while quietly lobbying allies. Even shadow cabinet members split, some silent, others briefing journalists off the record. The once solid inner circle has fractured. Inside Labour HQ, chaos reigns. Starmer rages at rebels, threatens deselection, lashes out at journalists, and stumbles through speeches in public. The steady image has vanished. Numbers are brutal. More than a dozen MPs are reportedly ready to abstain or vote against him. The no-confidence motion could succeed, forcing a leadership contest at the worst moment. Even survival may leave him stripped of authority, unable to command loyalty. What began with leaked documents has spiraled into a scandal with security implications, financial trails, and a street movement refusing to quiet down. Classified MI5 briefings reveal shadow networks of undeclared meetings, questionable funding, and covert European contacts. Public fury is uncontainable. From London to Sunderland, Birmingham to coastal towns, protests grow daily. Activists wave Union Jacks, chanting "Stop the betrayal," while fishermen blockade ports. Online, viral clips of members burning Labour cards dominate feeds. #Brexit betrayal has trended for nearly a week. Reform UK capitalises, with Nigel Farage's rallies transforming into a national campaign, Save Brexit, drawing record crowds and donations. Polls show Reform UK surging past the Liberal Democrats, cutting into Labour's Red Wall support. Inside Westminster, the Labour machine is paralysed. Party discipline collapses. Rebels defy the whip. Local branches threaten to cut campaign support. Senior figures feed leaks to journalists daily. Starmer is no longer seen as steady, but as a leader mired in secrecy, collusion, and betrayal. The crisis now transcends leadership. It threatens Brexit's legacy, Parliament's sovereignty, and the trust between voters and politicians. The rebellion has become a constitutional crisis. Britain waits, restless and divided, to see if Starmer can survive a revolt that may end his career and reshape the nation's future.